13 books to read in 2025. The first one is ACE, the Data Science Interview. I rated 9 out of 10. Topics covered are first, it's divided into two parts. The first part focused on building powerful portfolio. I considered this one as pre-interview stage. Basically, it focused on how to build your resume and how to connect on LinkedIn. So yeah, this is the part one covered. Second part, I see that it focused on how to stand out in the interview stage. So it's more technically. It covers topics such as probability, statistics, machine learning, SQL and database design, coding, like data structure and algorithms. We are talking here about arrays, linked list, time complexity, hash tables. Also, the final chapter, which is very important, it focuses on product sense business knowledge and how you build up a case study. When it comes to the practical projects, I didn't see any like coding examples, like not help you to build a project on coding, etc. And my thoughts about it, personally, I find it's the cold email section is not helpful enough because people or recruiters are truly quite hard to connect to them, especially in Europe region. My thoughts about it is it shapes the resume and mindset with emphasis on important topics related to data science and analytics. And what else I would say? I would say that the technical section is more like heads up and refreshing to anticipate the areas you need to cover with such as probability statistics, hyperparameter tuning, how to build the reportness, machine learning. So for me, it's eyes opening and I enjoy reading this book. So that's why I give it 9 out of 10. Next, we have Grokking Machine Learning. I rate this book 10 out of 10. Topics covered is more traditional machine learning topics: classification, logistic regression, naive Bayes, decision tree, neural networks, ensemble learning models. So it's more like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, like this ensemble learning. And this project has, of course, plenty of models you can build for like check this GitHub. I will add this GitHub link into the description of this video. My thoughts about it, it covers traditional machine learning topics and math behind it. And I love Grokking series all in all. I have all their books, machine learning, algorithms, data structure, etc. And I find it valuable as the math is pretty simplified and I was able to start like building models using Kaggle datasets in competition. So I rate it 10 out of 10. Next, we have hands-on machine learning with Scikit-learn, Keras, and Tensorflow. I rate this book 10 out of 10. I talked about it before. I remember I highlighted in previous video. However, since I reread this book again, I wanted to emphasize on the importance of this book for me. This book is divided into two primarily parts. We have the traditional machine learning landscape. We are talking about supervised learning, classification, regression. We have unsupervised learning, dimensionality reduction, clustering. We're talking about unsupervised learning such as dimensionality reduction, clustering, and ensemble learning. Then we have the neural network and deep learning. So we are talking here about models such as RNN, CNN, NLP, natural language processing, reinforcement learning, and how to train and deploy Tensorflow models. And this book really helps you to build your portfolio on GitHub. So you will have a lot of models, different data sets that walk you step by step to demonstrate various concepts, following by some exercises. And my thoughts about it, it really helps to enhance your portfolio. And you will find a really great GitHub account after completing the exercises in this book. Then we have customer analytics for dummies. I didn't expect to like this product at all. I rated 9 out of 10. I only deduct 1 point because it's quite outdated. So it's released 10 years ago. Topics covered here are essential customer analytics concepts, how to segment the customer, and how to measure customer lifetime value, aka CLV. Mapping the customer journey, identify product development, valuable metrics per criteria. Remember here when we talk In eighth, the data science interview, this section, product sense, business knowledge, and how to build use cases studies. That's is what we mean here. So in every interview, in every interview process, we have the product interview where the manager will talk about what they offer to consumers, their products, their services, the challenges that they have. So this one or this book will give you the required useful insights on how to interact with the service and why we built the machine learning from the first place. So I have included here an example to help you demonstrate this point. So here we define journey of a consumer purchasing a laptop computer. Okay, so it starts here with a defined need. I answer most of my emails on my phone while waiting for my PC to load. So here we define there is a problem that this person or this consumer want to buy a new laptop. Then evaluate the need. I see a commercial that said I could speed up my PC with some software. And then we have here completed the awareness stage. We are moving into consideration stage where we talk about response decision. I need a new computer. And then category decision. I have always had a Dell, and my dad said they are the way to go. So he focused on a specific brand, Dell. And then we have the brand decision. Dell seems most reliable, and my friend recommended them. Then we have the action stage, the purchase process. I found a coupon code, but it took a long time to configure on the website. And then the setup and unbox. I had a problem installing the software after he bought Dell. Then initial usage, configuring 2 monitors was painful, and extended usage. I wish I knew the hard drive wouldn't be big enough when I was configuring. Here, at the top of this slide, we have the awareness, consideration, preference, action, and loyalty. That's the stages that the consumer usually walk through stage by stage. And then we have the marketing team, usability team, and customer insight team that can relate it more into the company itself. Okay, and we have the metrics, the different metrics, and ownership, etc. So I highly recommend to read this book, Consumer Analytics for Dummies, 9 out of 10. And I wish they can have more books about this topic because it's so thoughtful and nice. And by the way, if you have any recommendation regarding this part in specific, like how to measure consumer relationship or measuring the journey of consumer itself in relation with the company, please add it in the comments. I will have a good read of this category. Next, we have SQL for data analysis. SQL is still relevant to topics or big models like MLOps, LLMs, so please pay attention to this area of the analysis and spend time exercising or exploring SQL queries and check your understanding because it's still important and relevant. I see that data scientists still doing or creating SQL queries in their day-to-day work. I read this book 9 out of 10, and topics covered are related to data analysis areas such as data cleaning and wrangling. We have also time series analysis, coherent analysis that investigate how consumers' preferences change over time. So it takes the time attribute into consideration. Then we have the anomaly detection. We also have interesting area, A/B testing, hypothesis testing, chi-test, and t-test. And this book, yes, it has many SQL queries. Using this link, you will access the code related to this book. And I find this book is still relevant to data analysis and science. It covers the depth of the main data analysis topics using SQL. It tries to apply these concepts on larger data sets can be very beneficial. We are talking here like large data sets, like more than 20 columns and few hundred rows, and maybe create a simple visuals after that using Power BI to maximize the efficiency. Next, we have introducing MLOps, how to scale machine learning in the enterprise. I read this book 10 out of 10. It's for absolute beginner. And if you are looking for a bit more advanced source, then feel free to check out MLOps. This book, it covers different areas. First and foremost, the MLOps. What do we mean by that and why? By the way, MLOps is abbreviation for machine learning in operations. So it takes the machine learning model and put it in the context of production. Okay. And this book doesn't really have doesn't have practical projects in coding. However, it has interesting ideas in the part 3 section. So for part 2, it has MLOps life cycle principles. And for part 3, it gives you some use cases examples, such as measuring credit risk by consumers, building recommender systems, forecasting consumption by users. Okay. If I want to highlight the MLOps lifecycle and give you an overview, I will start by the business goal, where we define the business problem. Then we have create SQL queries. This is also a day-to-day task in data science. Then we have the data processing, where it includes data cleaning, data wrangling, and then we have to select the MLOp to identify, are we talking about classification or regression? Is the dependent variable is continuous or discrete? And if it's discrete, is it multi-class or binary class, etc.? It can also, the ML model or machine learning model can be about clustering, where we still need to define and give to segment the data itself. So here at this step, we select the machine learning model. Then we have the testing and deploying, where we run our performance metrics, we run the cross validation, etc. Then starting from prepare for production, we are moving into the MLOps. So the first 5 stages are the traditional machine learning model. Like we usually do that on a traditional machine learning model. But starting from the 6th step, here we prepare for production. That includes simulation and QA. Then we have develop to production, such as CI and CD. If we want to talk about CI and CD, we're starting by the first. CI stands for continuous integration. That basically means automate tests for data quality, relevance, and model accuracy, and API functionality. Then we have the CD, that's continuous deployment. That means automatically deploy stable versions using tools like GitHub Actions. Okay, and develop to productions, it focused on containerization and CI and CD. Okay, then we have the mentor performance and feedback loop. Feedback is really important because based on the feedback loop, we are able to get back to the primary step and feed the model with the new data and train the new data on the machine learning model, maybe integrate more machine learning models for this stage. Okay, so feedback loop is amazing. Next, we have another book, Think Python. This book, I read it 8 out of 10. It's very important because usually when we start building the analytics in Python, we jump right away to the first step, which is machine learning. However, this book is more about Pythonic concepts, that the fundamental lessons we need to learn and comprehend. And simply because when we build neural network deep learning models, such as in PyTorch library, we usually use for loops, classes, while and try, while loop and try and except clauses. We also use functions. So this are the fundamentals concepts of data structure, and this book is help you to cover it. So here the topics covered in this book, it's for absolute beginners. It started simple with defining variables, strings, and regular expressions. Then we have the functions, the classes, and then we have if statements, while loop, for loop. We have try, except. We have also lists and lists comprehension and inheritance. This is our absolute core essential lessons in Python. And this book doesn't involve any coding, like building big projects. However, my thoughts about it is I find it very important because the more we become comfortable around AI topics, like neural network forecasting, simulation, deep learning, TensorFlow, etc., the more frequently we need to make refreshment from time to time on the basics. Okay. Next, we have Grokking data structure. I want to emphasize that I'm quite biased when it comes to this series because I truly love it. It, it explains the topics like for a 5-year kid, and it takes you from an absolute beginner step into an expert level, and it puts you on the right path. So if everything I need, like good visuals, coding, math, simplified exercises, segmenting the concepts at the end of every chapter, that's Grokking series is for me. So I am quite biased when it comes to this series. I rate it 10 out of 10. And the topics covered are first the big O notation, arrays, like static, sorted, dynamic. We have also lists and linked lists. We have queues and stacks and hash tables and dictionaries. By the way, there are also Grokking for algorithms. You can feel free to check it out. And it helps when we talk about this book, it helps with lead code exercises. If you want to practice on lead code, this book is right guide for you. Okay. And again, it's simplified with the great visuals, and doable projects and topics are highlighted in depth. Next, I have the probability for enthusiastic beginners. I read this book 9 out of 10. The topics covered in this book is probability, conditional probability, linear algebra, distribution types and density, correlation and causation. And this book doesn't have projects, but you will probably need paper and pen to exercise. Okay. And for me, the math can be a bit much. Not for me, but for many of us. This book reminds me of the unique class Probability 101 and Introduction to Mathematics, etc. All these classes we did in university. And it has all the topics like my professors covered when I was in the first year, like probability distribution, normal distribution, hypothesis testing, etc. So if you are graduate, then maybe this book is a refresher for you. But if you didn't attend any of these classes before, this book is probably for you. I find myself recently going through the probability rules and conditional probability, interception, and naive Bayes theorem. Yeah, so that's why I included this book here. Next, we have the essential math for data science. So this book is a bit advanced. I rated 8 out of 10 because it didn't really cover all the areas I needed to check external sources. However, this book I included because it's really important in topics regarding probability, linear algebra, regression, and math behind it. And we are talking here about linear regression, logistic regression, and we have also descriptive and inferential statistics that we use these types in understanding about the data, like why this data has the problem XYZ. So this book is really important, and I didn't find any practical complete projects here, rather than numeric calculations that they are easy to follow. Such as like how to calculate correlation coefficients, how to calculate a standard deviation from scratch in Python, etc. This type of calculations. Okay, yeah. So on the side, you will get solid understanding in terms like population and sample, as well as normal distribution, pies, normalization, causation versus correlation, etc. And I enjoy going through these chapters because the concepts are clear, and the author like really connect the dots when it comes to the topics and provide relevant examples. And then we have my read list for 2025. The first book is LLM Engineer's Handbook. And this book, I have a new criteria when it comes to evaluate my list here, my read list, is that why this book is on my list and topics covered in this book. Okay, so previously I talked in criteria like topics covered in the book and if it's there are practical projects or not, and my thoughts about it. But here we are talking about why it's on my list. And I find this book is all over LinkedIn right now. Everyone have a copy out of this book, and I didn't spend much time on NLP area before, natural language processing. So I'm interested into reading this book and build models and implementing these concepts. So I found that the topics covered in this book are essential LLM. LLM, by the way, is abbreviation for large language models. Okay, so it covers essential LLM fundamentals, building machine learning pipelines, designing LLM structure, RAG pipelines, and model performance and optimization. So yeah, I want to give it a try in 2025. Next, we have mastering NLP from foundations to LLMs. Again, I want to explore this new area of AI. NLP is not new, but LLMs, I said that it has been a year and probably a year and a half. So for me, it's a bit trendy. And topics covered are it started simple from the probability and the statistics, then data cleaning, data bias, special character, like it's more like data quality in a way. Then we have the traditional machine learning, however, in the concept on the context of NLP. So we have text classification, TF, IDF, and word to vec. We have also moving into the LLM, deep explanation, including the performance with LangChain and RAG. And of course, I found a link on GitHub that can help with the practical projects that we usually gonna build. I will add this link also in the comment section or in the bio of the video. And finally, designing data intensive applications. So this book is a big yes for me. It's on the top of my list, like for many months, and now it's a time to read it. So 2024 was a great year for me of self-growth and reflection. I'm grateful for like 2023 and 2024 journey because I had massive paid time to work on my projects and get paid at the same time. Yeah, so I took the time to learn languages such as like HTML, JavaScript, React, Flask, like languages and frameworks here because HTML is a markup language, React and Flask are more like a frameworks. So yeah, this book is a natural extension to build applications. I'm comfortable using the languages such as JavaScript, HTML, CSS, React, Flask, as well as Python and SQL. And I love building dashboards in Tableaus and Power BIs. So that will be a natural step for me. And the topics covered in this book are mainly fundamental attributes for scalable data systems and helps in creating applications and sustain low maintenance process with the use cases regarding online websites and designs. And that's exactly what I want. And that's it. Thank you so much. So if you found my video useful, please give it a like.